The best thing about this manga is how it's in constant thrill mode, not a single chapter where something interesting is not happening, and it has enough characters, side stories and mysteries to fill a whopping amount of 249 chapters. This is a major difference compared to Monster, Urasawa's other famous work, which was much simpler and for the same reason harder to keep you engaged. 20th Century Boys has 10 times more things going on, leaving very few things without something to remember. At the same time, I can't ignore how much more over the top it is compared to Monster. There are many things where you just need to suspend your disbelief, otherwise they come off as magic, which is a big minus in a mystery show taking place in a mundane setting. There is a virtual reality program which recreates the past down to the tiniest detail, to the point it's no different than time travel. And just like Johan could walk around the world without never be seen, Friend and his agents can do the same even though they are not as charismatic. But if you manage to suspend your disbelief, you'll be offered one of the most brilliantly multi-layered, non-linear thriller mysteries of all time, coupled with dozens of fleshed out and memorable characters. Whereas in Monster, the only character you end up remembering is Dr. Tenma, over here you have Kenji, Kana, Ocho, and a whole bunch of others who do not disappear from the story once their arc is over. They are otherwise equally reactive as the cast of Monster, which is something I am not fond of. The whole story is basically trying to stop the bad guy. Nobody has the luxury of doing something else without being fucked over by the constant terrorist attacks. What I mean by that is that the villain's plan is the story, and the heroes are just reacting to what he is doing. They are not giving any time to affect the world in a way that is not part of the plan. Speaking of the villain's plan, as grand a scheme as it sounds at first, it basically comes down to a spoiled brat wanting to kill the world because they were making fun of it at school. The way he manages to trick millions to dance like puppets doesn't have much justification. The apocalyptic cult he had formed at first was excused, since all of them were already believing the world is coming to an end, but everyone else beyond them comes off as mindless idiots who believe anything, and don't think twice to kill others while laughing because they were told it's a fun game. In Monster, Johan was excusing the control he had over others by tapping into the darkness of their hearts. His victims were made to think they are getting what they always wanted. You can't excuse that with Friend predicting the future, coming back from the dead, and convincing aliens are attacking Earth with giant robots. Only delusional otakus would buy that, not billions of normies worldwide. The story is still pretty damn good, since I found it very captivating in how it was constantly escalating into bigger and bigger threats of mass death and destruction. I loved the twist of everything being initially a game children made up for fun, so in a sadistic way it was the good guys who kick-started everything as means to be heroes. What I didn't like was the overuse of red herrings. Since the mystery needs to be constantly maintained, a big part of the manga is about trying to reveal who Friend is, or how he does what he does, or what inspired him to do it. Which is fine in terms of world building and character fleshing out, but many things are still going in circles and are eventually proven to be a wild goose chase. What I am trying to say is that the good guys spend a hell of a lot of time in figuring out trivial details, such as what happened in the school during that night, or how the Book of New Prophecies was written, instead of focusing more on how to stop the villain before he kills everyone on the planet. Which, let me spoil it for you, he mostly manages to do that exactly because the good guys were spending years in looking at scribbles on papers instead of going out there and emptying a machine gun on that asshole. The mystery box was way too big for the significance of its contents. Basically, everything seems mysterious and captivating while you're reading about them, only to feel insignificant or not really explaining things properly once they are over. Other than that, it's an amazing read and I highly recommend it despite the occasional lips and logic and unexplained magic it pulls on you. It's not meant to be very realistic, since down to it, it's glorifying rock music, makes jump shonen references, and although it deconstructs naive idealism by making the bad guy taking advantage of people's dreams and hopes for the future, it still solves most of the conflict with a very naive idealism it's poking fun at.